It's a fine win for Southampton at Stamford Bridge, but what's going on with Chelsea right now?
Really, the problems are all about the final third. You know, they're not creating, and when you don't create, then you're not going to score. So for me, it's about the final third, but I think a lot of that is stemming from the fact that they are inexperienced at the highest level in the Premier League.
With inexperience comes inconsistency.
And that's exactly what you're seeing. If you look at Chelsea's recent results, you're looking at wins and losses, but that's what you get with inexperience. I'd have to say that it shouldn't come as a surprise to us. I think, unfortunately, the young players at Chelsea, they started the season so well that they've kind of elevated Chelsea in a position now where we expect Chelsea to win now, particularly at home.
When you look at their last 6 results in the Premier League, Stevie, I mean, the Bournemouth and Southampton losses, not many predicted that before the games, but then the win at Spurs. Is a lot of that down to the fact that when teams that aren't expected to beat Chelsea come to Stamford Bridge, they sit in and Chelsea find it hard to break them down, and then Chelsea go to Spurs and they've got a game plan that is better for them?
Well, any team will tell you that it's easier to create and score goals when the opposition give you more space. That's basically what we're talking about here. Mm-hmm. Spurs are under pressure at home to come at Chelsea, which means that Chelsea then get more space going forward. As I said before, the truth now is that teams understand that Chelsea's forte is going forward. They understand that they can be done on the break, or certainly they can be done if they're given space. Then that's what your plan is. Any coach worth his salt is going to understand that and then set his team out accordingly. That's what Southampton did. They had a good line. They defended well. You still have to defend.
Yeah.
So we should give Southampton credit.
Oh yeah, we'll get to them.
They absolutely defended, but because of the inexperience that Chelsea have going forward, the longer the game goes, the longer things don't quite go the way they want it to. That's when the composure goes, in my opinion. So, you know, experience, composure for me are two in the same thing.
When you and I have stood here and we've done the transfer rate and we've seen guys like Jadon Sancho and others, really talented players, but young and inexperienced, do you think, with what you've said, Chelsea should be looking at little bits of more experience coming in?
Well, see, this is the test that Chelsea have because they have so many young players. The test they have is, do they go out and buy an experienced player that makes up for that lack of experience? But then how do your young players get experience if they're not playing? You're kind of stuck in between.
Is it not like going for a job and you're not qualified enough? Well, how am I going to get qualified if you don't give me a chance?
But there's not a straightforward answer because they have so many young players. Listen, the changes he made, he's bringing on Mason Mount, inexperience. You got Pulisic, inexperience. So it's not like he's bringing experience on to help inexperience. It's just more of the same. And so that's the tough job Frank has. Does he go and get somebody? Or does he stick with the kids? And so that eventually when they gain experience, then they will figure out how to break teams like Southampton down when they sit deep and sit tight.
To an extent, there was a false expectation on Chelsea from people outside the club, wasn't there, after they had such a good start to the season? Everyone's thinking, oh, Champions League chasing. But in reality, they still had these experienced players who, as you've said, are inconsistent.
Listen, they could still get into the Champions League positions.
Of course they could, yeah.
But you're talking reality. Mm-hmm. The reality is that with young players, you get inconsistency. It's never changed. It will never change. But what they have to try and do, though, with that inconsistency is still pick up the points, which I think they're still capable of doing. It's just going to be a little tougher than we thought it would be 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, let's give Southampton some credit here because that's a fine result. They've been inconsistent as well, but they've bounced back from that horrible defeat against Leicester, and they've had some other nasty results. That's a good win. That game plan was perfect.
Yeah, and sometimes game plans fall into your lap because there's no other way Southampton could have gone about this victory at Stamford Bridge. So that's what I mean when it falls into your lap. But then you have to have players, and as a coach, you have to make your players believe that your game plan can work and is going to work. And there's no question, Hasenhüttl absolutely had his players ready. They were focused, and they looked from the off as though they knew what they were trying to do, and they did it.
And they did it with out Ings for the majority of it because he came on. But this is the time of season you've got to rest players, and they've now got a relatively fresh Danny Ings, their top scorer, for their next game. Win-win all round. Chelsea, though, problems. That run of form is not good.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.